أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطاهرين. Verse number 60 of Surah Nisa. ألم تر إلى الذين يزعمون أنهم آمنوا بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك يريدون أن يتحاكموا إلى الطاغوت وقد أمروا أن يكفروا به ويريد الشيطان أن يضلهم ضلالا بعيدا. Have you not regarded those who claim that they believe in what has been sent down to you and what was sent down before you? They desire to seek the judgment of the rebel, though they were commanded to defy it. And Satan desires to lead them astray into far error. The verse is certainly a continuation of the previous verses. In the previous verses, the believers were advised and commanded that they have to obey God and the Messenger. And that when they judge, they have to judge justly and rightly. And one of the judgments that we have to be right about is to choose who should be our judge. At any case, the previous verse advised that يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَأَطِيعُوا الرَّسُولَ وَأُولِي الْأَمْرِ مِنْكُمْ. You have to obey God and the Messenger and those in possession of authority among you. And if there is any dispute, refer it back to the book of God and the Messenger. Now here he says there were some people who thought that they believe in you and thought that they believe in the book which was sent before you, referring to some Jews in Medina. And then instead of referring the judgment to their book and to the one who's in charge of authority from God, they take it to Taghut, which I mentioned later on what that means. About the cause of revelation of this verse, which puts us in the context. Certainly the verse is very wide and far-reaching in its meaning. However, this Sha'nul Nuzul puts us in the context. The Sha'nul Nuzul, the cause of revelation, says that between a Jewish man and one of the hypocrites in Medina, who claimed to be Muslim and outwardly he was a Muslim, there was a dispute. And the Jewish man said, I agree that we take our case to Muhammad, peace be upon him. Because he knew that the Prophet did not take bribes, the Prophet did not rule unjustly. But the hypocrite said, no. Bayni wa baynak Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf. The judge between us will be Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf, who was one of the Jews of Banu Nadir, famous for taking bribes in judgments. Famous for that. So this hypocrite wanted to, in a sense, attract the favor of Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf, in the case, in favor of himself. Now, the verse, although most of the commentators have mentioned this story, but it doesn't very well conform to the very content of the verse. Because it says, there was someone who thought that he believed in you, and someone who thought that he believed in the book sent down before you. And then they wanted to take their case to the rebel, to Taghut. So this Taghut should not be someone from the Jewish communities, should be someone who actually did not believe in any book at all. Unless if we say that the Jewish man also knew that Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf would take bribe, and he agreed to that. However, since it says يُرِيدُونَ أَن يَتَحَاكَمُوا إِلَى الطَّاغُوتِ, both of them want to take their case to a rebellious person. A rebellious person here means someone who does not believe in revelation at all. يُرِيدُونَ أَن يَتَحَاكَمُوا إِلَى الطَّاغُوتِ. Now, apart from this cause of revelation, there is another version reported from Abdullah ibn Abbas that a man, a sorcerer called Barzatul Aslami, was usually taken as a judge when there was a dispute among the Banu Nadir Jewish tribe in Medina. They usually took their case to him. And here, apparently, they both wanted to take their case to someone who did not believe in God at all, or did not believe in any book of Revelation. And that's why Alam Tara is an expression of amazement. Are you not amazed from the act of these people who they think يزعمون أنهم آمنوا بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك? They assume, or they pretend, or they think that they believe in whatever is revealed to you and whatever is revealed before you. So the first part refers to the munafiq, the hypocrite, and the second part refers to the Jewish man. And what they do, the amazement is here, that what they do actually defies and denies their claim of believing in a book of God. You remember in verses that we discussed before, when we were discussing إِنَّ اللَّهَ, I think it was verse 48 or 47, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَغْفِرُ أَن يُشْرَكَ بِهِ وَيَغْفِرُ مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ. We said that shirk here means shirk in decree, shirk in judgment, shirk in hukm. And anyone who believes in a book of God should accept the judgment of that book. And especially now that the Prophet is among them. Especially the man who claims to be a Muslim but is a hypocrite. If he claims that آمنوا بما أنزل إليك, be one of those who believe in what is revealed to you, he should bring your case to you. So this is a case of amazement. ألم ترى إلى الذين يزعمون أنهم آمنوا بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك. This very act of taking the case to Taghut is refuting their claim that they believe in whatever is believed in you, and for the Jewish man in whatever is revealed to his prophet Moses, peace be upon him. And so it says their claim is not accepted, because faith is not only in the heart, it should show in practice. If their practice is an unfaithful practice, that means there is no faith in their heart as well. Now, يُرِيدُونَ أَن يَتَحَاكَمُوا إِلَى الطَّاغُوتِ. They desire to make Taghut as a judge between them, to seek the judgment of the Taghut. Taghut is from Tughyan, and it is a hyperbole of the one who rebels, a great rebellion. Now, about the meaning of Taghut, although we have discussed this before, but there are different opinions which they do not contradict each other. First, كل من يعبد من دون الله فهو طاغوت. Anyone, anything who is worshipped beside Allah is taghut. Now, this expression or this definition of taghut has a problem, because the one who worships such thing is taghut, not the one who is the thing which is worshipped, unless that thing is a sentient being and wants others to worship him, then it becomes taghut as well. However, the other meaning, which is also mentioned in Majma' al-Bayan, anyone who judges or accepts a judgment which is contrary to the judgment of Allah, to the rule of Allah, that is taghut. So يريدون أن يتحاكموا إلى الطاغوت means that they want to take their case to someone who has rebelled against God by providing judgments which are contrary to the judgment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Well, this is, of course, something which maybe all of us are subject to even in our modern life, that we usually, for different reasons, want to wave away the rulings of the Quran, the judgments of the Prophet, the rulings of the Prophet, and resort to other rulings, other judgments, other ideas, because we say that, well, the life has changed. Modern life is different from the traditional life. Although that's true, but there are certain things that must not change. And we must refer back to what the ruling of the Quran and the Sunnah is, as we explained in the previous verse. No matter how much we have to try to find the correct ruling for our context and for our social situation. Sometimes we are very easily and readily give in to ideas which we think are actually replacing the other ideas which are now obsolete, outdated, and things like that. We have to be very careful about that. Alam tara. This is amaze. This is an expression of amazement. How amazing is the position of those who assume that they believe in whatever is revealed to you. Now we are talking about the Muslims. And then they want to يريدون أن يتحاكموا إلى الطاغوت. Another meaning of the verse is, we said that one is that they wanted to take their case to Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf. The other meaning, they wanted to take their case to a sorcerer, Baraza al-Aslami, or a sorcerer from Juhayna. And the other meaning is that they want to go to the idols and take lots to find out who's right, who's wrong. These are different meanings which are said, but of course the meaning is very clear. No judgment is accepted except the judgment of the Messenger and the Book of God. And this is what is mentioned in some narrations. In Majma' al-Bayan, he says, Rawa ashabuna عن السيدين الباقر والصادق عليهم السلام إن المعني به كل من يتحاكم إليه ممن يحكم بغير الحق. What is intended by taghut here is anyone to whom is a case taken in which he will judge contrary to haqq, He will judge contrary to haqq. This is the meaning of taghut, or this is the intended meaning of the verse. Taghut is anyone to whom a case is taken for judgment, for ruling, and then he rules contrary to haqq. This is taghut. And this is the core of the meaning of the verse, putting aside the cause of revelation and things like that. The previous verse told us that you have to obey Allah and the Messenger, and here it says obedience to Allah and Messenger means that you should not take any case about which the religion has a judgment, or when the Prophet is present, he can judge between you. You shouldn't take it to someone who judges or rules contrary to what is haqq. يُرِيدُونَ أَن يَتَحَاكَمُوا إِلَى الطَّاغُوتِ while وَقَدْ أُمِرُوا أَن يَكْفُرُوا بِهِ. They are commanded, or they were commanded to reject it. أُمِرُوا أَن يَكْفُرُوا بِهِ. Where were they commanded to reject it? وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا أَنِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَاجْتَنِبُوا الطَّاغُوتَ. In Surah An-Nahl, in every nation we appointed a Rasul telling people worship Allah and avoid taghut. So you see, taghut in different contexts may mean different things, but it is rebellion against God, rebellion against judgment of God, which is mentioned in the book or by the messenger, rebellion against worshipping God, or anything worshipped in rebellion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are taghut. فَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ وَيُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْوُثْقَى. Whoever rejects taghut, yakfur here means reject, does not accept, does not seek, yakfur بالطاغوت. And as it is, the commandment is this: we have to defy. وَقَدْ أُمِرُوا أَن يَكْفُرُوا بِهِ. Defy and reject taghut. فَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ وَيُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْوُثْقَى. Whoever defies taghut. You see, defying taghut comes first, and yu'min billah comes second. We have to empty our heart from whatever is contrary to the advice of Allah, to the judgment of Allah, to the decree and ruling of Allah. Then, of course, our belief in God is a correct belief. So, وَقَدْ أُمِرُوا أَن يَكْفُرُوا بِهِ, by these verses. فَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ وَيُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْوُثْقَى. Okay, then it says, وَيُرِيدُ الشَّيْطَانُ أَن يُضِلَّهُمْ ضَلَالًا بَعِيدًا. And Shaitan desires to lead them astray into far error. Now, the symmetry of the expression is very beautiful. يُرِيدُونَ أَن يَتَحَاكَمُوا إِلَى الطَّاغُوتِ. They desire to seek the judgment of taghut, but in parallel to that, وَيُرِيدُ الشَّيْطَانِ. Shaitan desires to lead them astray into far error. يُرِيدُونَ أَن يَتَحَاكَمُوا وَيُرِيدُ الشَّيْطَانِ. Their desire, in a sense, creates the desire of Shaitan, brings the Shaitan in the middle of the commotion. in a sense. They invite shaitan to themselves. By doing this, they invite shaitan. يريد الشيطان أن يضلهم ضلالا بعيدا. Can we say that them taking the judgment to a rebel is instigation of shaitan? Or it's vice versa? Them taking their case to a rebel invites shaitan to misguide them. They invite shaitan to their home, to their heart. So this is also, according to some commentators, is continuation of amazement. Alam tara, have you not seen those who yuriduna yatahakamu ila taghut? And amazingly, shaitan now comes in. Yuridu shaitan an yudhillahum dhalalan ba'ida. In a sense, this is what Tafsir al-Namuna mentions. Ayatollah Makarim in Tafsir al-Namuna, he says that, in a sense, referring to Taghut is a trap that shaitan sets on the middle of the way. And when they want to go to Taghut, the shaitan takes them far, far away from the right path. يريد الشيطان أن يضلهم ضلالا بعيدا is a very dramatic expression. Shaitan wants to put between them and between Haqq a far distance. Not just leading them astray. No, shaitan wants to put between them and between Haqq a far, far distance. And يُضِلَّهُمْ ضَلَالًا بَعِيدًا. Take him into, as the verse was translated, taking them into the far error. So, because of this far distance that they move away from Haqq, they never can come back. It's very difficult to go back in that sense. In Tafsir Kashif, Muqniya mentions one thing, and that says this verse actually indicates that shar comes from shaitan, not from Rahman. It's not that Allah wants them to go astray. It's shaitan which takes them there. Although it was their own initiation, but it's not Rahman who does it. And then he says, every thought that drives you towards evil and shar may be called a shaitan. Well, this is a very modern explanation of shaitan, although, of course, this is true, but shaitan is we know that shayateen are created beings, but he says every idea which drives you towards evil is a shaitan. Because shaitan can be from human, can be from jinn, and are those who actually whisper in there, الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. So these two people who wanted to take their case to a taghut, to a rebel, they were actually instigating into each other's hearts. Although in one of the narrations we have that the Jewish man actually suggested that we take our case to Muhammad, peace be upon him, although he was not a Muslim. But the hypocrite said that, no, we take our case to someone else who could be, in a sense, brought into deviation. That's the only meaning. Now, the following verses also imply that this was not a sort of an isolated case. These things repeatedly happen with regards to munafiqun. They always wanted to avoid the judgment of the prophets. They wanted to take their judgment to someone else. And the following verses actually advises them and threatens them that claiming that you have believed in whatever is revealed to Prophet, peace be upon him, and then behaving in such a way is, in a sense, a denial of your claim to faith. Verse number 61, وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ تَعَالَوْا إِلَى مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ وَإِلَى الرَّسُولِ رَأَيْتَ الْمُنَافِقِينَ يَصُدُّونَ عَنْكَ صُدُودًا. And when they are told, come to what Allah has sent down, and come to the messenger, you see the hypocrites keep away from you averse,ly. This shows that this was not a single incident. It was not an isolated incident. Muslims were telling the munafiqun, the hypocrites, that you better take judgment to the Prophet rather than to anyone else, rather than to Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf, the Jewish person who used to take bribes, or to sorcerers. And they, when this was told to them, you see the hypocrites keep away from you averse,ly. So, ta'alaw is from ulu. When you say someone ta'al, it means come up to me. So when they are told ta'alaw, وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ تَعَالَوْا إِلَى مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ, come to what Allah has revealed. So it's natural the Muslims who are telling these people, although some early exegetes have mentioned that it was the Jewish man who called the munafiq to take the case to the Prophet, peace be upon him, but this is not quite likely. And when this happens, رَأَيْتَ الْمُنَافِقِينَ يَصُدُّونَ عَنْكَ صُدُودًا. Sad means to turn away. It can be used in a transitive way and intransitive way. So yasudduna here means they turn away. It's intransitive. But in other verses, saddu an sabilillah is transitive. So yasudduna anka sududa means that they turn away from you. What turning? It's a matter of amazement. How they try to keep away from you, not to come to you at all. Like kallamallahu Musa taklima. What a speech Allah had with Musa. Yasudduna anka sududa means sududan azima. Taking them to the execution room was easier for them to come to the Prophet, peace be upon him. And God knows how munafiqun were afraid that if they go to the Prophet, suddenly a verse would have been revealed about them or something like that. Despite knowing all these, يَحْسَبُونَ كُلَّ صَيْحَةٍ عَلَيْهِمْ, they think every shout is against them, is concerning them. Despite this, they turn away from you. In a sense, the Quran is telling us that not coming to you is not because, for example, they were ignorant, or it happened once, or, for example, in this case they wanted to go to someone's. No, this was something that they made a habit for themselves. Because they do not believe in God, they do not believe in the messenger, they just pretend. And nothing is important for them but the fleeting pleasures of the life of the world. And the verses, of course, continue. So in this vein in this discussion, the verses continue, inshallah. We continue with them in our next session. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.